I feel so scorned because it is an event that I stood up for years. And it has now made it it is indefensible. It was practically indefensible last year. And then when you have Adam Silver handing out a trophy saying, congrats to the East for scoring the most points. That's what we get with the All-Star Game. By the way, we are broadcasting live from the TireRack.com studios. TireRack.com will help you get there. An unmatched selection, fast free shipping, free road hazard protection, and over 10,000 recommended installers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Yeah, he didn't even know what to say. He was like, I'm done too. You know, I'm going to admit something. I left work yesterday at the same time as you did. We were done at 5 o'clock. That's when the game was starting. I'd been mentioning the game all day. All day. I get home and I'm like tired and I like laying on the floor for my back for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. Laying on the floor. I get up, I change, I go work out, and then I'm like, oh my goodness! I have not watched a single minute of this game. And I don't care. I never went back to it. I saw some highlights at the end. The best highlight I saw was Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic just throwing the ball back to each other, back and forth, back and forth. That's the best thing I saw. I saw that Damian Lillard got the MVP and that the East scored 200 points.
All right. Yes, 200 points, which is actually something that I was curious if they would get to that point.
I mean, what?
And I don't think anybody thought, and I don't think that Las Vegas thought that they would get to that point, because you would think at the end that there would be some pride that someone would step up and want to maybe play defense or make it a game, and it was anything but. Do you know how many times Karl Anthony Towns shot the basketball in yesterday's All-Star game?
No, didn't watch a single second of it.
Okay, if I were to tell you,
yeah, yes,
in a game full of All-Stars,
yes,
that Karl Anthony Towns,
right,
who would probably, if you were to rank the 15 All-Stars, if you were to rank them and put them in order, the 12 All-Stars, excuse me, not 15, it's not a full NBA roster, the 12 All-Stars, probably be about, 10th maybe in the most name-worthy All-Star,
sure,
maybe even 11th or 12th. If I said he shot 20 times last night, would you say that that's a lot for an All-Star?
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it sure does. He shot 35 times.
No,
he shot 35 times last night. Finished with 50 points. But the point is how do you get how are you in a scenario surrounded by 11 other All-Stars on your team where you are able to take 35 shots in a game? And it's because they didn't care.
Right.
So somebody had to take the shots. And so I'm not blaming Karl Anthony Towns for it. It's just a bad product. And I actually feel bad for Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, who gets a lot of heat. But as we mentioned in his post-game comments on how exasperated he was at the effort after asking these players to actually give 2 cents, to give a rip about this game, and he's kind of at its wit's end. The problem with the NBA, and we were together yesterday, as you just said, we were doing the Sunday show, and what did the show that I did and the show that Steve Hartman did previous, and I'm sure the shows prior to that and the shows after us, what did we all say? Guess what? How are you coping with today, your first weekend without football?
Yeah, right. It's no season right now.
It's the first weekend of the offseason of the NFL. You know what that is? That is a golden opportunity for the NBA to say, we got you. We've got you interested. We will carry you over. You can now care about our league. And you throw a product on the court that is so disinterested that even the fans don't care. Anthony Davis was asked post-game what was the most exciting memory or the best part about it. He talked about the dunk show that the Bulls and Pacers dancers put on at the end of the third quarter. Like, that was it. There was by all accounts of people who were at the game, there wasn't a lot of energy in the building. Why should they? They probably paid a premium price to watch a scrimmage and some guys, not even a scrimmage, because at scrimmage you actually determine a winner and may play to the end of the whistle. You play to 11, however your pickup game is. It's not even that. It's just a free-for-all, and it gets old really, really quick.
And it did get old. I also saw a video of Nikola Jokic as he's being introduced, and he just does not look like he wants to be there. And not in like, going to lose and I don't want. No, it was just like he was so not interested. And it doesn't work when it's day 3 of the All-Star festivities when we all know the best part was the 3-point shooting contest that already took place on Saturday. And to show how much like that actually matters, if you saw Jalen Brunson's face when he was eliminated in the first round of the 3-point shooting contest, he was so mad that he was eliminated. But yet the All-Star game, they literally don't care. So if you guys don't care, how do you expect the fans to care? And it's gotten worse every year. Like, we saw this when it started, 7-ish years ago? Where you really just saw that it was becoming like a Globetrotter style All-Star game. Like, because back then, I still have the image of when Shaq, they're playing still defense at the time, and Shaq is bringing the ball down and does like a slow motion dribble through the legs, and they let him do that. Because in that moment, it was like, okay, you're just dribbling the ball. You don't get to do this. We get it. But now it's like, instead of moments like that of fun, the entire thing is just a joke.
No one plays any bit of defense.
Nothing.
And honestly, the offense is just as bad because of that, because there is no need for offense.
Yeah.
All you need is Damian Lillard pulling up from half court, which he did last night.
Right.
Luka tried to do an alley-oop to himself, and is
that the one that hit like the side of the board? I think I saw that one too.
He tried to dunk and he didn't get the dunk. He wasn't able to put it down. But that's the stuff that we remember from this game. It reminds me, if you want to use like an analogy, and I am one who loves a good appetizer at a restaurant.
Ooh, me too. Little onion rings.
Mozzarella sticks.
Nice. I'm into that one too. Anything fried really just gets me.
The Midwest Wisconsin in me says cheese curds.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't love cheese curds.
Well,
they're fine. You put them in front of me, I'm gonna have it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna order that.
What do you think of a restaurant when their appetizer is their best thing on their menu?
Ooh.
You don't think too highly of it?
No. That means I'm planning to go have a drink and an appetizer and leaving.
Yes, and you wouldn't. We don't want their meals. We don't like their meals.
We're gonna go
They're not really
else.
good. Yeah, we'll. The stature, the status of that restaurant is diminished because they make a good mozzarella stick, but there's no reason that you're going to stick around. Yeah, you like their onion rings. All-Star Saturday should not be the best part of All-Star Weekend.
No, and it is by far, no question.
And that even stunk.
Yes, except for a piece of it.
Excuse me, that even sucked. That's how bad it was. I'm sorry. I know I probably shouldn't have said that. But it, like, outside of the 3-point shootout in the Steph Curry Sabrina Ionescu competition, it was bad. And not to pile on Minnesota Timberwolves. It's not the point of this show with Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. But Anthony Edwards was competing in the skills competition and decided to shoot left-handed.
Yeah.
You're not Larry freaking Bird, okay? And so what he did, he hit the side of the backboard on one shot. So it tells you on how seriously these players are taking it. And the reason I have empathy for Adam Silver, because you do want to take advantage. Your league has now been completely overshadowed by the National Football League. The NFL has taken over Christmas Day. They now are having games on Black Friday. You've had to develop an in-season tournament to make people care about your sport. And in the first weekend out of the NFL season, which, by the way, you've also had to move your All-Star game because of the NFL's expanding schedule, and you don't want to compete with it. So now here we are on February 18th having an All-Star game, which was obviously yesterday, today being the 19th, because you're trying to stay away from the NFL, and you're trying to gain any traction or carry at least something over for the next month, maybe before March Madness and before you enter your NBA playoffs. And these players just do not care.
Yeah, it's sorry.
No, that's just like, and Adam Silver, I think, has been the most player-friendly commissioner that we have seen of any major sports commissioner in this league. And the return from the star players is just not there when it comes to something that means a lot to him and means a lot to the league.
And I'm glad you pointed that out, because you're right. You can tell he wants to fix it. He wants to make the league better, but if they don't have his back, then what's the point? The highlights for the Celebrity All-Star Game, which I didn't watch, were better than the highlights from the NBA All-Star Game. Puka Nakua's dunks, that was amazing. Micah Parsons, amazing. That was more exciting to watch than the actual final event. The appetizer, we'll say the two appetizers, were better, honestly, than the main course. Like, it's just so sad. And, like, yesterday was probably worst case scenario for Adam Silver?
Being
the way it ended, the score, and like at one point
breaking 200,
breaking 200, and then I'm telling you, I saw a shot of Luka that he took, right? That was just wild. I saw a video of it. And then I read that he tweeted in the middle of the game because somebody called him out and was like, great shot selection. And then he responded in the middle of the game. That's what they're doing. Like and this is, I like Luka. I like the players, but it's like, you guys, it's very evident that you are not taking this seriously. You play more intensely during practice. And if you don't understand how the fans just want to see the best of the best actually play against each other, then we do need to just wrap this baby up and not have it anymore.
This is so the NFL has their Super Bowl, and I get not everybody gets to go to the Super Bowl. Very few people get to go to the Super Bowl. But when the Super Bowl is in your town, there are events that go around it, just like the Major League Baseball All-Star Game.
Yeah.
I remember, 20-some years ago when I was back living in Wisconsin and it came to Milwaukee. I didn't go to the Home Run Derby. I didn't go to the game, but we went to the MLB Fan Fest that was there, and it brings a lot of people in and events and helps your sport. The NBA doesn't have a Super Bowl to do that. They don't. The NBA Finals is obviously home court. This is really their only opportunity, unless you wanted to move the midseason tournament to other places, which I don't think you want to do, but it's their only opportunity to kind of take an event and move it in different places for these NBA cities to get that sort of experience. And I just don't know why, as a fan, if you're next year in San Francisco when the All-Star Game is going to be, why you would pay tickets to see that garbage. You may want to go and see it at the convention center and shoot hoops and have bounce passes and get, an autograph of a Hall of Famer. I understand that. The cities would be the ones losing out on this. But in the big picture, I just don't know how Adam Silver can justify it, because the NFL is like, you know what, the game sucks. We're going to do away with the game. We're going to have these other events, but we still need it because it's a viable avenue for us that garners TV ratings. Last year's All-Star Game, I believe, was the worst rated All-Star Game we had in television history. At least in the 2000s, it was the lowest. And I would have to think what happened last night that didn't do any favors. While you weren't watching it because you were at the gym, I fell asleep in the fourth quarter of it in watching it because it was just the same old, same old. I guarantee someone fell asleep last night in Indianapolis during that game watching it because it was not good. It was bad basketball, and Adam Silver just needs to end it.
It's so sad because it's like, literally in the moment, I was like, oh, the game's on. Yeah, I already changed. I'm going to go work out. It wasn't even a second thought. And then when I started looking at the highlights, I was like, I missed nothing. For the first time, I missed nothing. And I feel like we were doing a show around this time last year. And I told you, I was like, I'm into the All-Star Weekend. I usually watch it. I make my friends watch it.
Yep.
And then like for the first time, I did not miss it at all. And I don't know how you fix it. I don't think you can.
You can't. I don't want to throw money at them. Why should we throw money at the winning team or the players to make them want to try hard? Like we've done this before. I don't know the fix of having, the NHL All-Star Game has different teams, and then you end up playing, you have 4 squads, and then the 2 that win end up playing on. You don't need to do that. We don't need to go through all these hoops to make it work. You had an opportunity where you asked your players, can we make this a viable option? And whether it's leadership, however the message did not trickle down to the players, it was not translated, and it did not come through in the game. So at this point, I'm just done with it. End it. Who cares? If they don't have they will have an All-Star Game next year, but if they didn't have an All-Star Game next year, we missed nothing.
No,
give the players a week off and be like, all right, see ya on Thursday.
If that's all, because I read somebody said that it's a break. Why do we want to play intensely? What are you talking about? Yes, this is supposed to be fun, but do this for the fans. Like, I don't know. I don't want to give them money either. I said this and both said no, but right before the show I was like, make it like baseball did it at one point. Whoever wins gets home court advantage in the finals. Put something on it, but it's like, we got to pay you more? I don't see why that's how you're going to play hard and tough in front of the fans that, want to see this.
Home field advantage did nothing to the All-Star Game in Major League Baseball. Like we think that it did, but it didn't. I mean, there were times when teams that were 30 games out of first place at the All-Star break, and they're deciding the game because Major League Baseball had the 1 player per team deal.
Yeah, no, I hated it at the time. I'm just bringing it up now to try and help the NBA, but I hated it at the time for baseball. I thought it was so silly.
End it. Get it over with.